destroyed the feed and had to rebuild the whole thing, and it was great. It was awesome. It's not good.
But not this time. We're rocking. So welcome back to another episode. Yeah, thanks.
Bonz is like, oh, I gotta clean my house now.
Yeah. He's like, hold on, I gotta change the oil in my car. I'll be right back.
Right?
Yeah. Welcome back to another crypto roundtable. We were gonna talk about gaming, crypto gaming, but then Kenny made this awesome image of crypto metaverses, and me and Corey, we kind of like metaverses, and I kind of thought about all the people that might have something to say about gaming and metaverses, and I wanted to have them on this channel. And so we have essentially the all-star cast of all-star cast. Yeah, we've got Recourier, who you might know from Crypto Monkeys, Metaverse, are launching their own project coming up really soon. He's been involved with Upland and a few other projects in the space. We've got Bonz, who's no stranger to our channel. He's involved with Prospectors and now recently Red Planet, as well as a few other projects. Been in the space for a long time, doing various things. Anders, any observation? Who, I mean, in a nutshell, Anders is a metaverse and it's in itself. I mean, the things that he does in this space, all the coverage that he gives it. So we're really happy to have his insights here. David, X1 the Gamer, I guess is the tag that you go by, is the community manager for Upland, which is another project that you should know because they're one of the top dApps, top gaming dApps in the whole ecosystem. Our good friend from our channel, as well as one of the heavy hitters, in my opinion, in the space, Adrian from Wombat, Womplay, Chain Clash, Spielworks, been doing a lot of really great stuff. Probably one of the home run hits of, I think I got this right because it's crypto time, but last year was Blankos. And Blankos did something that nobody else had really ever done on the EOS blockchain with, their kind of network gaming type of thing. And in a way, they could be considered a metaverse as well. And I know like Andrews ate that up. Andrews was on stream building stuff, like playing stuff. He really loved it. So we're really happy to invite Rudy from Blankos to the stage as well. And no stranger to anyone out there who's paying any attention to gaming and anything that's happening, Alien Worlds. And we're lucky enough to have Saro from Alien Worlds joining us, which, if what people are telling me from the inside, you are part of the reason that Alien Worlds is just killing it. So we're really happy to have all of you here. Talk away amongst yourselves, and I'm just going to sit back and take.
Yeah,
because you guys.
Let's have 9 people. Let's have 9 people talk at once. Or this is going to sound crazy. Let's do some gratitudes, and we'll start. Actually, Saro, can we start with you?
Yeah, sure. I was just thinking gratitude for today. Oh, I have gratitude for 2 things. One is my mom and her health and the fact that she's made it through these whole pandemic times okay. And also that here in England, we're coming out of lockdown pretty much as we speak. So we haven't been able to go to a restaurant for some time. And I think that'll be in the frame in the next week or 2. So
awesome.
That's my gratitude.
Alrighty, and so Rudy.
Hey, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for being up this early, not as a result of my kids. I have 2 young kids. They're 2 and 4. They're usually the ones getting me up, and believe it or not, they are up. But I'm up this morning for a different reason, which is awesome, and it's to hang out with you guys.
Awesome. All right, I think I can fit that on there. Awesome. How do you spell Blankos? B-L-A-N-K-O-S?
Yeah.
Cool.
Blankos. Yeah, B-L-A-N-K-O-S.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
I-S-F-U-N.
Adrian, good to see you, man. What are you grateful for this morning?
I may sound like a broken record, but it's this time my son who got born about 4 weeks ago, and he's healthy and he's great, and his mom's great, and we're all great. So definitely thankful for that. So yeah, big thing.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Adrian. Awesome sauce. Bonz.
What up, my brother? I'm gonna go with Adrian on this one. I'm gonna go with my family today because they actually have to put up with me and all my craziness and the schedule and everything crypto because of me. So I'm gonna give them a shout out because they're a couple wonderful human beings, my wife and little girl. So I'm grateful they put up with me.
Okie dokie. Anders.
I'm grateful for NFTs, man.
Yeah, amen to that.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
All right, David.
I am grateful for sleep. Like Adrian, I too have a newborn child, and when you have a newborn child, it makes you realize how valuable sleep is. So,
into that.
Oh yeah.
I love that slurp there.
Sorry if that was me.
So I this next weekend am going to be able to see my family. For those that aren't in the US, it's going to be Mother's Day weekend. We're all now vaccinated. I have older parents, and I'm going to see my family for the first time since Christmas of 2019. So
wow.
We all made it through. So I am grateful for a healthy and safe family.
That's sweet. Thanks, man. All right, Jimmy, you still around? You take off? Where'd you go? He's gone. He's just like, screw this. There's too many people here. I can't process this. Man, I'm this morning, you know, we've been, and I've said this a couple times in the last couple of weeks, like the fact that I get to be in a room with all of you people is crazy to me. Like I can't wait to learn more about what Blankos has been doing. I haven't really I didn't get into that craze, although like I hear Anders loved it, and so therefore it was cool. David, I'm really excited to meet you. But like, you know, Saro and Bonz and Adrian and Recourier, like all these people that I've been meeting that have just been taking the world by storm over these past few weeks. I'm grateful that I get to be in the ecosystem with you guys, because it just, you know, I'm learning at such a ridiculous pace. And I love watching people succeed. It's like really, really fun. And so like mostly I'm just watching Saro and Alien Worlds, but some of the rest of you guys are doing pretty good too. And so that's, you know, anyway, I'm really grateful that I get to be here with you guys. Also, somebody building a desk?
Yeah, I think it's my kid.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I second that. You know, I'm grateful to be in a room with heavy hitters, and I'm also grateful to have this opportunity by Cryptowriter to host this roundtable every week with my good friend Corey. Speaking of Cryptowriter, if you go sign up for their Twitter account, they're doing some auctions now of their crypto finnies. As our sponsor, I just want to point out Ken Bozak auction finishes tonight. And the Crypto Stash one goes on sale, I think, tomorrow. And yeah, just go check out their Twitter, and check out Ken Bozak's video of him apparently pretending to be a trucker, talking about how much he loves being a finny, because it's totally worth like checking out. He's awesome, one of our favorite heavy hitters in the space as well. Yeah, so go over there and check out the auction. Also, people who comment and interact with them, as always, will be given a chance to get some coins. So, and yeah, I mean, Corey's in our gratitude monument, in our little plot, in our little metaverse here, flying around doing things. This is what we do. I mean, we come in here and we help people, we watch people, we see people building all of these things. I mean, obviously, we like it. But there's a lot of people in this stream that are just completely blown away by watching what's happening in the crypto space. Especially, most of these projects are affiliated in the EOS.io space. So what is a metaverse to you, and why do you think that they're game changers in the system? That's kind of my first question for anyone who wants to throw out an answer.
So I can jump on that. I kind of see a metaverse as something larger than any one game. Each game is sort of its own metaverse, but it's the blurring of the lines between the digital space and the IRL space. It's very much a place where you get lost on which place you're in, because you exist in both places all the time. And I think what's even more fun is existing in many of those different metaverses, because for me, I've got a presence in Our Planet, in Alien Worlds, in Upland. Whatever the next thing that comes out, I'm going to find a way to get into that too. And it's a very fluid to move from one to the other and connect them all together. And that's something that I think is way more powerful about the NFT space than we saw in more traditional crypto, which tended to get much more siloed and much more like everybody was defending their project. Their project is the best. We're the next Ethereum killer. We're the next whatever. And especially in Wax, but even the broader NFT space, those lines get a lot more blurred, and everybody seems to be gung-ho for everybody else much more.
Just if I could jump in, just bouncing off of what Recourier said, I think Metaverse, I don't think it's a coincidence that Metaverses are really starting to come to the forefront after this past year when everybody, worldwide has been on lockdown, because I think the key to Metaverse is community, and it's bringing people together. And I think it's that interaction taken to another level online, getting to know people. You have your, like Recourier said, you have your avatar online, and you have your real life self, and those lines are being blurred more and more. And so I think community is really the key central focus of the metaverse, and I think that's why you're seeing an explosion in it, because we need community. We're human beings, and we need it more than ever. And when the world's on lockdown, I think that it's only natural that a new type of world is going to come up and sprout up out of that.
Yeah, I think to hook onto that too, I mean, we can see that the new generation of gamers, if you look at mass market gaming, the new generation of gamers are spending an incredible amount of time in the digital space, much more than I did. The games that I played had a start and an end, and you had to get through it as fast as you could without dying. And that was really it. Now, you can get completely immersed in these huge open world sandbox games. And so not only are you in these worlds, but your identity's in these worlds, your social networks are in these worlds. And as a kid, when I bought a pair of sneakers, I'd go to school and show off to my friends. And now that's done in the digital space. You buy a skin in Fortnite, you go in the game, you show it off to your friend. Gets you social cred. And so, I think there's sort of a natural sort of progression happening here where, the new generation spending incredible amount of time in the digital space. They put an incredible amount of value in a digital space, especially around the items that they buy, which is why for us NFTs is so important. And I think it's just sort of creating a sort of natural progression towards what everyone here has started describing as a metaverse.
Yeah, and they have real estate, right, through NFTs. Sorry. Sarah, go first.
No, please. You were.
I think what's fascinating, what's new now, right? You had these open worlds before blockchain, right? But now you have the possibility to actually own real estate in this metaverse, and like to have to own objects just like you would own them in the real world. So you choose when you hand them over, you choose what you do with them, and that's huge, right? And I also think that the lockdown has propelled that a lot, because now you need something of value that's not locked down, right? So and you still want to own it, and you still want to be able to take it anywhere. And this is possible like with metaverses and NFTs now. So it's a great opportunity. It's very fascinating what's going to come out of that. And I think we're just at the beginning of what's going to be possible. On the lines of ownership are going to blur. Like, what is ownership? Do you really own that? If you own the physical thing, or do you own it if you own the NFT associated with it, right?
Even more interesting, I think, that we are perhaps moving into a sort of post-ownership world, even as we're kind of beginning to understand how we can own things digitally and provably own them on the blockchain. I understand that CZ of Binance doesn't own many assets, actually, and rents where he lives, and he sees this as a kind of sort of philosophical and maybe even aesthetic kind of progression of how we can live our lives now. And so, yeah, I mean, these questions of ownership and what do we need to own, what don't we need to own, I think are, more important than ever now that, we can represent more of our lives outside of the physical dimension, which I guess is really what the metaverse is. So, I mean, to me, a metaverse is an abstraction of reality in some way. And I think the variables that one chooses to abstract and the variables that one chooses not to abstract in a kind of attempt at a metaverse are quite important. The selection of those things that you choose to take on in terms of building into your metaverse end up being very significant in how quickly it can build, the type of people that it involves, and where you end up going with it. So we've seen metaverses so far be sort of conceptualizing or abstracting the 3D world a lot, right? So this is where we have a sort of VR experience. We enter into a world, we have an avatar, we can look around. A map is an important thing to understand as part of that. Spatial coordinates, adjacency, these are all concepts that become really important when a metaverse is primarily spatially oriented or is primarily an abstraction of the spatial world. But it's possible to think of our lives in other dimensions and to abstract those dimensions more, right? So for example, if I think of what's important in my life, I would probably say that the relationships that I have are maybe even more important than where I live or the things that I see. And so if that's the case, then figuring out ways to abstract, for example, our relationships might be an interesting way of creating a metaverse, and so on. We can think about teasing out different aspects of our lives in creating economic or other mechanisms that kind of tie them together, and then making that a sort of proposition of a metaverse. And then we can play with those different ideas. They become very sort of interoperable and usable together, especially when one metaverse is attempting to do one thing and another is attempting to do something else.
Yeah, I want to jump in if I can. I've been thinking about this nonstop in relation to, talking to Max Infeld and a few other people. And of course, we had a great conversation with Michael Yates from Alien Worlds on Friday. And to your point, like what it seems to me that you guys are trying to abstract, and a lot of it is, working backwards from how do we teach people how to use DAOs, and then you make this giant, a metaverse game layer, right? Which obviously is really brilliant. But that interoperability is something I'm spending most of my time thinking about now, right? Like one of the things Yates said was like, he's curious to see where people will add value to the Alien Worlds NFTs ecosystem, right? And obviously, our planet did that, and then had to fix some things recently because Alien Worlds is swallowing the world. So we got to balance those things. But all these things, to me, like this is the Atari level, this is the 8-bit layer level of the evolution of where this stuff is going. And so we're trying everything we can. We're throwing spaghetti at the wall. Some of it really works, and I feel like we're learning tons. And I'm excited that there are different forms of this, and that because of the the open architecture of the way that the blockchain and the NFTs work, we really can feed into each other and create a network effect. Whether it's philosophically or actually in all the different value propositions we can make. So I love it. Thanks, Saro.
Yeah, and I mean, I think personally, everyone has their own definition of metaverse. And one thing I thought was interesting when we had Michael Yates on the show, he was talking about how they didn't really consider Alien Worlds a metaverse. It was more of like a grand experiment you know, in DAX and decentralization and DAOs, which I thought was really cool. I was kind of curious to ask Bonz and Rudy in particular, because I think probably, you know, Upland is in a sense kind of a metaverse in a way, but Bonz and Rudy in particular with Blankos and Our Planet, would you guys consider yourselves to be a metaverse, or like if you had to put a label on it, like what's kind of your aim in what you're trying to create? Because I think like the community aspect of it is really is there, but like, you know.
I would say, I would jump in and just say, no, I don't really, what I think, when I think of a metaverse, I'm not thinking about like, you know, a specific game on a specific, you know, server. I'm thinking more about like, you know, where whole communities will come and gather and grow and build businesses and, you know, build, you know, relationships. And I think Our Planet, of course, is a game, and of course it's expanding, and we have actually all kinds of, you know, grand plans for it. But no, I wouldn't consider it really a metaverse where, you know, and not to speak for Rudy, but yeah, I kind of do personally think my opinion of Blankos is I could see it kind of developing more into, you know, a place where people are gathering, because it does have that whole social aspect of, you know, you have I know there's a section where you can basically like pick your friends, and I know you can like start quests, and you can basically like all your friends can basically go with you on that quest. And there's a lot more what I feel like is what a metaverse is built into more like a platform like Blankos than what we're building. But yeah, there's a lot of community around what we're building as well. But I think it's different, and I wouldn't really characterize it as a metaverse specifically. Now the land that we're built, you know, just to kind of like piggyback on that, I would almost like categorize what we're doing and what our upcoming plans are with prospectors as more of kind of what we talk about when we talk about a metaverse, because it's going to be more of you know, getting back to that original, you know, Second Life type thing where people are, you know, I think the idea that Philip Rosedale had right from the beginning was like that people would be running businesses, you know, and that you know, selling virtual items as a you know, as a business in a metaverse. And I think that's a little bit more like what we're doing with prospectors more than I would say than what we're doing with Our Planet. But I'd like to hear Rudy's take on it, because I'm actually a huge Blankos fan myself, and I'm a huge fan of Rudy's too. I've met Rudy, and I think he's a great guy. I love what you guys are doing over there, Rudy. So yeah, take the floor.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, I mean, we've been thinking about the metaverse a lot. We talk about it a lot, but that Blankos isn't intended to be that. You know, Blankos was our step into this arena. As traditional game developers, you know, I've been making traditional games for about 15 years. I started way back at Disney on a game called Club Penguin, which was one of the first free-to-play games ever, you know, and I got to see that whole evolution. And now here we are with a whole new set of paradigms, you know, breaking into the game industry. And it's been a lot of fun to be on the forefront again. And so for us, what we want to do is bring in our sensibilities as mass market game developers and build a game that was for the masses, and we could introduce them to all these concepts that we got excited about, right? Like when we looked at NFTs, I mean, it's funny, everyone's talking about NFTs now, right? Like it's everybody, it's on SNL, it's everywhere, right? When we started, and I'm sure some of you guys have been in this space longer than us, we've been in it for 3 years. You know, it wasn't cool to talk about in the mainstream. You know, nobody uses the words non-fungible token in everyday conversation. So for us, it was about bringing in our sensibilities of building a mass market game and introducing NFTs and these concepts to mass market. And we've been super excited to do that. And that's what Blankos is for us. And, you know, it's an open world sandbox game because, you know, that's the kind of games that we know how to build. And, you know, that is a big trend in the game industry. You know, again, like I said, it isn't just about having a game that has a start and an end. It's a game that you can get immersed in, you can customize, you can own. You know, kids and players today are used to that. They're used to having an incredible amount of control over the games that they play and being able to customize their experiences. And so, you know, we're leaning into some of those trends that are already big in the games industry, because, you know, we've been building games for that audience for a while. So we thought, hey, let's build something that we believe that they'll be excited about. And through that, we can then start introducing them to these concepts. Again, you know, thinking about it 3 years ago, nobody was talking about this stuff in the mainstream. So, you know, it was really exciting for us to think about how we would start to bring this into the mainstream, and Blankos is that for us.
So Anders, if you don't know who Any Observation is, Anders, go tune in, because he's like a real live robot or something. Because I'm not really sure how he has time to do everything that he does. But if you go over and you follow his channel, he's always doing something with one of the projects that are on here. I know, like, he built maps when Blankos came out, and he was heavily involved in Alien Worlds. He's into our planet. He's over on Upland doing stuff over there with you guys over there. So, I mean, Anders, I think we have a panel here of some pretty credible, amazing people, but every game, if I can say that, on this panel has done something revolutionary, right? I mean, you've got Prospectors, which, was one of the first games to ever, launch on 2 chains and do the whole, multiplayer game thing. You've got Blankos, which created the ability for people to create worlds and do gaming. You've got Upland, which was essentially Monopoly. Sorry if I'm putting it in a box, but that's what I see it as. And I mean, if somebody told me I was Monopoly on the blockchain, I'd be ecstatic about it, because that's like. And then you've got Alien Worlds, which is kind of breaking paradigms all over the place by creating these, governance models and DAX. So, I mean, what's your take on this space? And I kind of personally agree with Rudy. Like 3 years ago, nobody was talking about this kind of stuff. It didn't make any sense. What's your take on all of this crazy stuff that's happening, Anders?
Yeah, I'm for sure one of the users of this, and I'm very excited about it. I just have to make sure that I'm not muted anymore. So like, I use all of these projects. The one that I have used least so far is Upland. And that is, I don't have a reason for that. I don't know why. It's just time, I guess. Like, for me, Metaverses is all about collaboration and open source. It's about, hey, let's work together to create something cool. And for me, the metaverse of Wax is the real metaverse. All the things we have on top of it right now, or EOS.io if we want to go bigger, or crypto blockchain if we want to go even bigger. All of these, the more collaborations and integrations we see, the more of a metaverse we will experience, and the more we can interact with all of them. So for me, it's not one metaverse, it's not one project, it's a metaverse. It's how much you can collaborate with everyone else to create a user experience that is awesome.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because it's the lines between all of these are very hard to find, and the groups of people that I've become friendly with and that we talk with, our discussions move very fluidly between Alien Worlds and Uplift and Upland and Cryptomonkeys and our planet, and one goes right into the other, and there's so much going on with all these worlds that we all become a community to keep track. Like, okay, well, this land sales today, and then this thing is this day, and I'm in this part of the world, I'm going to be asleep, can you cover this for me? And it becomes kind of a cooperative community where we're all looking out for each other in all of these different places. And on the Cryptomonkeys team, we have mining in Alien Worlds that distributes cards, and we just launched a couple weeks ago mining in Upland, and Metaforce is also doing mining in Upland, and Metaforce has worked with Recourier to provide him some assets that have found their way into Uplift. And so all of these worlds, they're all intertwined. It's a big metaverse bowl of spaghetti. And so it's kind of hard to pick one out from the other, because once you get into that bowl of spaghetti, you're gonna get into everything, given being in the space enough time.
Spaghetti.
Yeah, I mean, and so like for me, my idea of metaverse might not be completely correct, but like I think metaverse like has a lot to do with collaboration, and that's actually why we wanted you here as well, Adrian. Like, you guys are doing something really interesting, with the exception of Rudy. I mean, Prospectors as well a little bit, but with the exception of Rudy and David, most of these kind of like blockchain games have been launched on Wax. And so I really like what you guys are doing with your Wombat wallet and your WomPlay, and actually like paying people to play games, within using your interface. And like as Recourier said, all of these games allow gamers to come in and, you know, make, in some places of the world, make a livable income, right? Like this is nuts, right? Like these designers, these people who are integrated, these people who are using, these people who might be staking for our planet or generating things, these people who are buying and flipping real estate in a virtual world in Upland. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. So like, you know, what's your take on this change of paradigm from people who before couldn't participate in these types of activities in the real world to like now kids who are essentially able to do it because of projects like what you're creating, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to be the on-ramp for millions of people to these worlds, right? Because they're not always easily accessible kind of for everyone. So we're trying to kind of give everyone kind of the sense for what is it like to own digital assets that are on the blockchain, right? And we do that through games, right? We offer, with OnePlay, we offer tons of kind of traditional non-blockchain games, and we let people earn blockchain-based assets for playing those, right? So we're typically the first touch point for folks when it comes to digital assets on the blockchain. And from there, it's obviously very, very interesting for both us and our users to dive into metaverses, to dive into, so what can I do with such assets in kind of a real world, right? And the real world is not kind of the physical world, but the real world is like the world that you choose to be real for you, right? And so now we're currently building an NFT engine where people can not only just earn tokens, but they can also earn NFTs through playing games, like games that like don't feature NFTs at all. So we're also going to be the first touch point for those people when it comes to NFTs. And we're really happy to kind of see so many really cool projects that can serve as, well, the first real blockchain-based content that that our users see after seeing blockchain-based, like ownable assets, right? Because now they can like I said, or they can take them to a real world and do something with them, and then they can immerse in these worlds. And so we're really happy. I mean, we've been working with Upland forever, basically, but we're happy to have all kinds of metaverses and blockchain-based games on play as well in the near future, so that we can get our users acquainted with kind of this metaverse thought and this idea about metaverses in general, right? So that is one thing that we're really excited about, because we also see how crazy people like our users go about Upland. It's really fascinating.
Saro, how do you feel about? I agree. I think that's great. Saro, how do you feel about having two people that are trying to take over Alien World's universes on the panel with you at the same time?
That's great. I mean, they should be. That's what we would love. Yeah. I mean, I think it's really this concept of, you know, the positive and the negative space that a metaverse occupies is really significant, because, you know, there has to be enough negative space that then that's where you get that community, right? Is where a framework is created perhaps, but then it's just left, or it's offered, and then people come in, and that's where community happens. So that was always the intention. It's really gratifying to see. I mean, yeah, we don't know where things are going to go, and that's a very interesting thing, especially now that we're of this size. You know, we're the largest blockchain app in history, and so to be of that size and to have such a high degree of decentralization, in the sense that, you know, a lot of the power and control and fun will happen at the level of the planets rather than anything that I'm, you know, involved in. So is quite, I think, unique. I think that is a true blockchain story, and we'll see what happens. It's going to be an adventure, and it's going to be a journey. And you can't. I think that, you know, it has to be that way in order to have engagement. You know, you can't kind of pretend your way to that kind of engagement. it's when people really own things, when they really have control over things, that you get them wanting to, you get smart, capable people wanting to come in. And that's how we have stake, and that's how then we'll have tokenomics that work. And, everything relies on other people feeling incentivized and being incentivized to take the reins of what ends up happening.
I have one question. And I'm hoping that I get into the position, or that our team gets into the position where we have to utilize your wisdom on this. How do you stay not super fucking smug? Because you're pulling that off right now, and I wouldn't. Like, I would probably be like incorrigible and really annoying. So, like, do you have any wisdom around that for us?
No, you can ask.
You don't have to
people
answer
that
that.
live with me, and they'll tell you a different story.
That's all right.
No, I'm
That's
definitely incorrigible.
It's lit. So yeah, like on air, you're like, yeah, no, we're like a big deal, because we all know you are. And off air, you're like, no, we're fucking world travelers. What's up? Like that's how I'm going to be. Like just definitely don't let the uplift grow too much, because otherwise everyone's just gonna be like, fucking Corey, god damn it.
It is growing really fast. I mean, it's amazing
it's
what you
growing
guys are doing, and yeah. So many things also are beyond any of our control as well. And we find ourselves at the nexus of a lot of fairly, macro type movements that we're fortunate to be in the slipstream of. So the other thing, though, is I feel like we're all very busy, right? I mean, it's hard to kind of really take stock, particularly of anything, when you're literally just trying to churn your way through a big to-do list, and you have a lot of people who need something from you. So,
no, I know we're all in that same boat. Yeah, no, like I've been trying to sort of reframe that. We had a little meeting actually with the team. We realized, like, the team that we put together has only been working together for a month. It's like, wait, it feels like 10 years. It's ridiculous. But the pace that we're growing now, like, we could just keep doing this probably forever, right? And we've got a bunch of ideas to do and stuff, and we don't need to be the biggest like that. Like, every once in a while, like, I can hear the ego in the back of my head, like, you guys are like totally like, oh, and I don't really actually care about that. It's just I was trying to make a joke, and then you said something super wise, so you win. All right, Jimmy, what's up?
Yeah, so super wise indeed. Actually, I want to go back to something that because I use Alien Worlds quite a bit. I mean, it's a cool little platform that enables me to just go on there and play around with it. And I like it. I like the thing that they're trying to build, the governance model that they're trying to build. I really like Wombat and what they're doing for gamers, and especially the ability to be able to play games off of blockchain with Wombat and be rewarded. I think that's really cool. Where I actually had trouble was with Uplands, Blankos, and Prospectors, to be honest. And these were all like really great projects that I think in a way gained like a massive cult following. Like, people came into these projects and they just got enveloped in their lives into these projects, right? And like, the cult following that these three projects had, in my opinion, was just like massive and huge. And I just want to know, like, I think it's maybe Blankos is a little bit easier, I think, in my opinion, because you have that kind of like creation tool where people can create their own maps and stuff, like, built into the protocol. But like, especially with Prospectors and the Upland, like, it must be really difficult to like keep people engaged. I know Prospectors does it by having new events and like boomtowns and stuff like that. Upland does it by like creating new maps, and you guys have a huge sandbox. So like, what tricks have you guys learned to be able to keep people engaged in what you're doing, and to keep that cult following, like, keep coming back, right? If you want to shed any wisdom on that, maybe.
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to get started. I mean, we follow the playbook for, again, I go back to traditional game development, and then free to play, which is what Blankos is. There's a way to sort of go to market with it that's tried and true. And before free to play, games were developed a lot like movies. You put a whole bunch of money into it, you get a bunch of really smart people together, and you do a big launch and really hope for the best. And then when free to play came in and games as a service started to become a thing, games online started to become a thing, we started to get more data driven with analytics and data to try and sort of turn it more into well, less of a guessing game, I guess. And so, you know, what that turned into was you know, a multi-stage rollout, and that's what we've been doing with Blankos. I mean, if you notice now we're in open beta with it. We were in closed beta before that. We even had a little alpha pre-launch before that even, and each of these are gates where we're not trying to grow the audience necessarily, but we're trying to make sure the game is hitting the expectations that we were hoping for, you know, on those kind of areas and those kind of KPIs. Are people coming in? Are they liking the game? Are they sticking around? What are the stuff they like to do? You know, what I've never built a game where the audience didn't sort of provide some insight that really sort of changed the way we thought about the game. And you can look at that time and time again in the free-to-play space. And so that's what's happening with us right now. We're in open beta. We've got a great community of players in there engaging with all the features, and we're seeing what they want to do. And as a result, you know, the team is hard at work internally. You know, we just launched a patch that has a bunch of physics items that you can use in the game, which, you know, you know, so we are constantly sort of evolving and responding to what we're seeing and working towards a final launch of the game based on what we're seeing. So, you know, it's not, there's no sort of magic, you know, silver bullet here that I can say this is what you do and your game will be perfectly successful. I mean, it is one of those industries that is quite unique in that respect. Where you have a starting point and then you work with your community to really take it the rest of the way.
Well said. I'll just piggyback off that. I don't think like Rudy said, there's a silver bullet necessarily. I think it was said earlier. Was it Corey that said Upland is monopoly, digital monopoly, or was that Jimmy? That might have been Jimmy. Anyways, I think that right now that's really what keeps our players engaged. Recourier, in fact, asked me right before the show, "Hey, how close are we to launching Oakland? Oakland is the next city that we're going to be launching full." And so the fact that we're layered over the real world, I think, really takes this idea of monopoly and gives it this power in the digital space. And you combine that with ownership and NFTs, and we're bringing in an NFT portal here in the next couple months, and it just makes it really exciting. I do think, you know, just like Rudy, we're also in beta, and we are leaning on our community a lot. We have a great community that's super engaged, and what's really interesting is people collect different properties for different reasons. Like, we have our collections that we set, that we say, hey, we believe that this collection is valuable in this city for this reason. But then you talk to players who are flipping properties or buying, you know, big swaths of land in different cities, and you know, they're collecting properties that all, you know, are half properties in Manhattan or Brooklyn, or have interesting architecture in real life. And so I think in a metaverse, the gamification, like, we can implement the gamification, but then the gamification is also driven by the community, and they gamify it themselves to a certain extent.
I think, so speaking from a community member standpoint, you know, I've been in Upland for just shy of a year, and when I came in, it wasn't what it is now. It was much simpler version. There was only one city. That city only had, you know, a smaller portion of it sold out, to where we are now, where there's 5 city maps. You know, most of everything except certain restricted properties are sold out, and it's grown quite a bit. And it's interesting. It is a free to play model, but that free to play ebbs and flows very, very much based on what property is available. And there's certain properties that are set aside for new players. That's something new since I came on, and that's constantly being tweaked. And there's this ever evolving attempt to find the sweet spot that allows people to come in and find their place find those inexpensive and come in as a free to play and build their way up. And there are some very big success stories where certain free to play players, admittedly that came in earlier, are now have the equivalent value of tens of thousands of dollars, are able to sell lands for fiat out and do very well. But then on the flip side, you have guys that come in, walk in the door and drop $100,000 and just buy massive amounts of land, buy big iconic buildings, buy all these things, and are coming in to set it up as a business. They are doing a business venture, and all of these layers work on top of each other. And the real thing is people get that emotional connection to certain properties, and sometimes it's something big. Rockefeller Center just sold for $40,000 equivalent in the game currency, which is a huge thing, right? Other people are like, I want this address because my aunt lived there when I was a kid and it costs like $1, but they're super attached to that. And so there's this huge dynamic that exists because it's a real world game. And some people are super attached to that real world map. And they're like, this land is this thing and it's got to be this thing. And other people are like, well, this neighborhood is kind of a forgotten neighborhood in the real life. I'm going to buy the whole thing and I'm going to make it into something completely different. It's not going to resemble what it is in real life in the least. And every player takes their own angle on all of that and finds their own value in it. And it's very interesting to watch those different mentalities of different value propositions find their way to work together, because there's very specific sub communities with different value propositions for the game that I think that's a little bit distinctive to Upland because of that real world map tie-in. A lot of people see the same idea of what's going on in alien worlds, and they understand, I'm going to take this world, the Cabal is going to take Cavian and mess it all up because, those wackos. Crypto Monkeys is going to take Neri and make it wonderful because that's the only obvious outcome. But, there's everybody gets kind of the same idea. I definitely think Upland has this really complex set of value propositions that I don't necessarily see in all of the different projects, and that kind of sets it a little different in certain ways.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that analogy. Sorry, I really like that analogy of different ways to play it, because I think, like, especially prospectors, Corey and I, we did the Uplifter prospector team, and like we recruited Bonz after like we already had land, and he came in and he's like, hey, what the hell are you guys doing way out here? and then we looked at it and we were just like, do we build the city? Do we build the rails? Do we develop money? And that like team aspect, that team aspect for us was really cool. I cut somebody off. I'm not sure who that was.
I was just going to hook onto that. The whole NFTs have added a whole other dimension of engagement that I've never seen before in games, which has been fascinating. We've got for Blancos, we've seen the mainstream audience coming in, and they understand it. They're getting it very quickly that, oh, these are items that I own. These, they don't. Now, of course, people are talking about NFTs, but even before that, gamers were coming in and going, oh, I actually own this. And that's changing the way I make decisions in the game. And I've never seen that before. And as an example, when you buy a Blanco, it comes in a box. So as vinyl toy fans, as you can see behind me, I'm a collector. The box is as much part of the art for me as the toy itself, and the unboxing experience is awesome in the physical world. And so we wanted to recreate that in the digital world. And so in order to play with your Blanco in the game, you have to open the box. And if you open the box, there's no going back. You can't rebox it. And so, you have this decision suddenly of do I open it and level it up because I think, it's going to be more valuable for me, or do I keep it in the box because I think a mint condition Blanco is going to be more valuable? And we've seen a lot of people get stuck at that point and go, what do I do? What do I do? Do I open it? Do I not? And then they go back and they buy another one of the same item because they want one boxed and one unboxed. And we've never seen that in games. As a player too, I've never had any reason to buy the same skin twice. But now, because there's real value in NFTs and people are understanding that, it's added this sort of new dimension of decision making, which is fascinating. The other thing too is that again, nothing out of the norm for crypto fans and blockchain folks, but all the items have serial numbers and they have a max supply, and again, it hasn't been a huge leap for mainstream gamers, because if you collect comics or anything like that, you might have been exposed to those kind of limited edition runs. And so, now we're seeing people and their behaviors going out, changing, because they're trying to get number one of 10,000, or they're actually trying to get the last number, and that's created sort of like this level of engagement with economy that I haven't seen in games, right? Traditionally in games, you have the game, you have a ton of fun, and then you go over here to the store and you buy some stuff. And what I'm excited about is that I believe that NFTs and the things that NFTs are allowing us to do are making game economies fun. Like where I feel good being part of the economy, because I'm buying things that have value to me and I can sort of make decisions around. And so, we're not just seeing people come in and play the game. We're seeing people participate and play in the economy, if you will.
And this is why we love Anders. Sorry, Adrian. This is why we love Anders so much, because he's got one of the best networks on the show. And what's he doing? He's using moving pictures to say 1,000 words as Rudy speaks about Blanco. So thanks for that, Anders. And we know you just love playing games. So that works. Go ahead, Adrian. I actually wanted to ask you a question anyway, but maybe you'll answer it.
I wanted to tie in with Rudy on that, because I was wondering on the last thing that you said regarding people owning the stuff, and do you have any experience with kind of your gamers, whether there's any going back to kind of the traditional stuff? Because after having played all these blockchain games myself, it was really hard for me to kind of go back to traditional games, especially like free-to-play games, and pay for stuff that I don't own. And this felt so weird. Do you have kind of any larger scale experience with that, with your users? Like, what are comments that you get?
I can just speak from experience in the industry. I mean, we've had gray markets in the industry for decades. I was grinding out a game called Asheron's Call way back in the day, late 90s, and going and selling items on eBay for real money. So digital item sales is not something that's new to games, and there's been a massive demand for this kind of thing in my opinion. Because gray markets, when you look at any popular game, I worked on World of Warcraft for a number of years. The gray markets around that game were enormous. The Spectral Tiger sells for $3,000 on eBay today. Fortnite had the Marshmallow skin, which was going for $350 on eBay. So, digital item sales have been happening at extraordinary volumes in the traditional game space, but all illegitimate, all like unregulated. All it's full of fraud. You could get ripped off, your stuff could be stolen. Game developers, because they had no ability to participate, they would ban you, take your stuff away. But what was interesting is that, again, if you look at any popular game, I'm talking like not just Fortnite and World of Warcraft, but Animal Crossing had a huge gray market around selling digital recipes and fish. And so the demand is there, in our opinion. People want to transact in this way. And we've seen it also, through somewhat legitimate attempts as well that have almost tried to get there, like Steam Marketplace, CSGO, Dota, and those kind of things, right? So what we feel is that, NFTs and blockchain really supercharge that and allow us to really make it a staple in games and not have it be this sort of fringe thing. And we believe that it's a demand that's been growing from the mainstream game audience, and they've wanted to transact in this way. So yeah, I believe once this sort of becomes more common in games, this is what gamers will want to do, 100%.
Yeah, I agree. Anders, what's one NFT that you have in your collection that you will never sell?
Oh, I think everything is for sale at the right price, right?
I love it.
But I do have a like this short documentary that M Blue minted in the Uplift.Art, which is really all about we should focus on giving and love more in the world, and that is like a 15-minute video clip, and it's a 101 mint. That's probably one that will be hard. I think I have it listed for 1 million wax at the moment, so I mean it has a price, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean I like it, and I was big into the Blancos, collection of the things, the little characters. I like that storyline that was put together. I mean, Adrian is maybe one of the few people on the stream that like isn't necessarily 100%. Their project isn't necessarily 100% involved with NFTs. They're actually using tokens, to reward users. But like with Upland, it's NFTs. With the Uplift, it's NFTs. With Alien Worlds, it's NFTs, and then Bonz, what you guys are doing with Our Planet is giving those NFTs value beyond the game, which I think is like huge. But if you recall, like early days, prospectors made the port from EOS over to Wax when they're both EOS.io technologies. And Saro, I mean, when you guys launched your kind of Alien Worlds project, you did the kind of Dutch auction style of thing on both Ethereum and Wax, and even though the NFTs themselves are based in Wax, you still included that element. And Rudy, recently you guys have actually begun accepting payments in Ethereum for what you guys are doing as well. So I'm just curious, Upland, what they've done, I think really successfully, and I do apologize to all the big fans out there, but what Upland has done really successfully actually is somehow you guys kind of managed to keep EOS out of the namesake of Uplands when it was climbing to the top of the DApp radar, which was actually huge because, EOS went through like a really rough patch. With governance and funding and stuff like that. So all of these games essentially have that EOS.io tech-based component. And I'm just curious, what keeps you guys, or what keeps you guys, or makes you think to outreach into other ecosystems? I'm kind of targeting you there as well, Rudy, but yeah, I'm targeting Saro and Bonz as well because
yeah, for sure. I mean, we've all the NFT stuff that's going on right now for the most part, has been Ethereum. They've been the sort of the epicenter of this. There's been a lot of incredibly innovative projects like OpenSea and that have been on that ecosystem for a while and really, been working hard, as everybody else here is, to sort of push this whole industry forward. And, I know Binance Smart Chain is also sort of starting to do some stuff in the NFT space as well, so we're paying attention to all of this. This is all really important to us. We want to, for us, the crypto folks are as important as the mainstream folks. We see them two sides of the same coin. We love the idea, and we've seen this already in our game of the sort of the speculator investors coming in from the crypto side and buying up NFTs that they think are going to be valuable to the hundreds of thousands of mainstream gamers. And then the mainstream gamers on the flip side are creating value by playing a game and through utility, creating value in these items. So we love that. And so paying attention to sort of how things are going, or where people are sort of focused is important. So from my side, or from our side, we kind of see ourselves as blockchain agnostic. We want to be able to respond to the industry, where it's going to be in 5 years. It's hard to say. What we've seen is over the last 3 years of being in this space has been remarkable. So we are currently sort of building on-off ramps. We've announced this. We've got our marketplace coming out in a little while here in May. I think that was already announced. Sorry to the PR team if I let that out the bag. We're also building on-off ramps with Ethereum, because true ownership is a real thing. Is it an NFT if you don't have true ownership? That's a big philosophical question that we talk about a lot, right? So yeah.
And that's a great answer.
Jimmy, you're muted.
Jimmy, you muted us.
Sorry, it took an hour. Like, it's been flawless for an hour. That's like unheard of. Corey knows that. Yeah, so that's a great point. Actually, I think, Saro, you might have to bounce soon. So I just wanted to say, thanks. And please come back on with Corey and I, because I think we really want to delve in a little bit more to Alien World specifically, and what you guys have done with the tokenomics model. Like the DAO aspect, we had Michael on the show last week, and it was great. But like, yeah, please come on. Like, I'm going to extend this to everyone, like, because we want exclusives. This is a powerhouse roundtable of people who have lots of opinions. But yeah, please come on soon and maybe give us your answer to this question. And I know you have to bounce, and so I don't want to keep you. But I'm willing to keep the communication lines open for everyone who wants to stay and hang out. And if you have to bounce, just send me a DM and I'll interrupt everyone and we'll say our goodbyes. But yeah,
guys, it was so great to be here and to be here with all of you. It's such an exciting time for us. And yeah, I liked what Andrew said about how it's a sort of metaverse together at various levels of, kind of scale. So in terms of, could it be like Wax as a metaverse, or the whole blockchain, ecosystem as a metaverse? So yeah, great to be here. Thank you for having me, and I'd love to come back. Have a great day.
Thanks, Sarah. Hey, Adrian, you were saying you might have a back-to-back too? Adrian? You're muted.
Now you're on mute.
There he is.
I think Jimmy muted everyone. I will have to run in like 5 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. I just want to make sure, and that obviously goes for anyone too. It's just like Jimmy and I were talking just in our little chat buffer or whatever. I was like, man, like we got to make sure if everyone has to go or whatever. He's like, yeah, but you want to keep talking to everyone? I'm like, yes. I mean, if anyone wants to stay, I'm here for it.
Yeah, guys, I apologize. I actually have another meeting in 5 minutes that I'm running to, so I appreciate it. It was very nice meeting you all. Thank you for having me on, and I'll see you guys next time, hopefully.
Take care. Nice.
Yeah,
we're meeting in 4 hours.
We hope that we hope that you come back, David. Maybe I'd actually wouldn't mind doing an Upland special at some point, maybe with you and John Connor and even Recourier and some of the other people that are involved, because you guys are doing good. So please keep in touch and reach out.
Yeah, absolutely, we'll do. Appreciate it, guys. Have a great day.
Okay, thanks, David.
Peace.
So yeah, one of the things that if you haven't been following Wombat, one of the things that Womplay does that's really cool is I think you guys allow people to play games for rewards that aren't even on the blockchain, which I think is awesome. Just by running those games through the Womplay wallet. So and you pay out those rewards in EOS, I guess. But do you guys have any plans to like implement other blockchain games, like Rudy said? Because there are a lot of NFTs and games that are on the Ethereum blockchain. And I'm just going to say it. Corey and I say this 100 times a week. We're not really sure if these are actually going to be playable in the long run. We're not really sure if these systems are going to be able to keep up. Now, I mean, if you look at token price, I mean, they're going through the roof. Binance Coin is going through the roof, so it's a good place to be if you're a speculator. But I'm not necessarily sure if you're a developer. But one of the things that you guys did, Adrian, that I thought was really cool was you're actually allowing people to get rewarded for games that aren't blockchain games, and I think that's actually huge in itself.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more of that. I just got to jump in because I've been talking to Tuttle about this, and Jimmy, we need to have her on. Tuttle's our dev manager. She's been playing like Axie Infinity from like the early times or whatever, and we were talking about like the sustainability of whether it's Alien Worlds or Our Planet or Upland or whatever. Like is this just going to keep going? And she's like, yes, just flat out yes. And then we talked for like an hour and a half about why. To me, like just they're so good. They're like, this can't possibly be how the universe works, but also like it kind of just can. So anyway, carry on.
Yeah, maybe that's the last thing that I'm going to say. But for us, what's important is that the onboarding is very easy, right? With Womplay, we're like mainly appealing to everyday users, to everyday gamers, right? So it's like the onboarding process to start playing the game should be as simple as possible and as close to kind of a traditional game as possible. And that's what is very simple with Upland, because you don't actually feel it's a blockchain game, although it is, right? And obviously, I think, Rudy, we should probably have a talk about adding Blancos to Womplay as well at some point, because that's what we're looking for, right? We love adding games to like blockchain games to Womplay. We're basically in talks, I guess, with probably 80% of all the up and coming and existing blockchain games to add them at some point. It always requires kind of a manual or like customized integration, right? So it's a bit of work, but we love doing that because, like I said earlier, we want to show our users who are new to crypto, especially, what is out there for them in this world with metaverses and stuff. And as much as we can, we will add cool blockchain games that are that have the appeal and the simplicity to onboard of a traditional game. And we'll also have NFT rewards soon, and we'll also be able to handle NFTs soon. Both, obviously in Wombat you can, but we'll add more features to that. So because NFTs are now coming on EOS as well, and that's great. So we're gonna be there to make an offering as well.
Yeah, and I think what you guys did just with the wallet in itself and having that easy social login was huge. But then supporting projects like Prospectors early on back in the day, and allowing people to get in there, supporting projects like Upland, supporting some of these big blockchain projects. Of course, your project, a Chain Clash and all of these things. I think that was actually brilliant. So you guys deserve all the credit that you can get. And it's been a while actually since we've had you on, but we're hoping to get an update again sometime soon as well. So.
I did have one.
Looking forward.
One quick question for Adrian. So I know there are different NFT standards. Do you know what NFT standards you're going to be supporting on EOS? Like, will it be Atomic or will it be some other NFT standards? I think DGood is a standard. So I was interested on what standards you were looking to support.
I think that Atomic is currently the most promising one. We wouldn't mind supporting multiple standards, right? But as usual, liquidity goes where the liquidity is, right? So if you have most assets being built on top of Atomic, then most other assets will follow on Atomic, right? Because you'll have interoperability, you'll have marketplaces, you'll have all kinds of infrastructure for that, right? So I think, and Atomic is really good. We've been working with DGoods for quite a while, but Atomic is much more RAM efficient, which is a very good thing, right? That's why I think right now Atomic is the most promising. But if ever someone finds a better standard and a new one, then we'll support that, right? So we'll basically go where all the assets are, and if need be, then we'll also be offering simple assets or whatever you might call it. But I think that right now everybody's on Atomic. Maybe Rudy, you aren't. I don't know about your DGoods journey, but we should probably talk about that offline because I really got to go now. I'm sorry.
Okay. No problem. We'll see you soon. Thanks for joining us, Adrian. So, Bonz,
thanks a lot for having me, and see you soon.
Really good to see you, man. We'll talk soon. All right. Hey, thanks, Rudy.
Thanks for having me. It's great chatting with you all.
Yeah, you too, Rudy.
Bonz has been suspiciously quiet.
Yeah, he's just
I'm not sure if the screen's frozen or
no. He's low key smashing complainers right now. He's just like, I got you. I'm your
He's getting DMs.
Right?
When land? What is me? More land? Give me.
Yeah, I have.
Why is my 18 1 of 18 trillion shovel not giving me 100 Aether an hour?
Yeah.
It's like, I want to buy you a beer so bad.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Buy me a beer NFT. Send me a beer NFT.
Hell yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if our planet doesn't have a code somewhere in the back end to create a beer. You did get that. You did get the weed 101, right? But I extend that question to you, Bonz. Our planet. You guys are doing awesome. You're killing it. We had this conversation last week. On Tuesday, you're implementing all of these projects. You're giving more value to all of these networks. And you're doing it on Wax. Do you guys have plans to potentially, branch out into other ecosystems to accept other NFTs, to support other, standards beyond EOS.io even? Anything like that you might be able to
No
drop?
comment.
That is a yes.
That's fun. By the way,
not that we've heard
confirmed.
rumors or anything.
Bonz, I actually need to talk to you and Nazar on a call pretty soon. Definitely not connected for sure. Having nothing to do with what you just said at all.
Perfect.
You know what the best part about that is I'm not sure if it was my computer, but that was pretty much glitched out. So you guys will have to read between the lines as always.
Oh, good.
Works out really well. So. Yeah, I mean, that was like, for me, that was a heavy hitter panel. Anders, like, again, you know, one of the top guys in the space, and Bonz, one of our favorite people, you know, over that we spend a lot of time with. And, you know, Recourier and Corey do their own weekly show, which is good too. But like, what do you guys think? Like, that was a heavy hitter panel. Like, do you guys have any comments on anything that anyone said?
I have to apologize because the last 2 weeks we haven't done a show, Recourier and I, because I've been off like gallivanting with like Ken Bozak and you know, just having really long awkward hugs in the reel with him. But yeah, this Friday, Recourier, if you're in, I want to make sure we get that done because the Metaphors thing is coming out this weekend, and I'm
I was gonna say I have nothing to do.
Real stoked.
I feel like, you know, just wearing that shirt, he's reaching out for a virtual hug from you, Corey.
I mean, we love him.
He will appear later today on a show as well.
Yes.
Good.
I will drag him down like this.
Well, yeah, it almost looked like you wanted to give him a little bit of a cheeky exam there.
Yeah.
Whoa. This is getting weird.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Yeah. So I'm going to be on with Anders. I'm going to be on Corey with you tomorrow morning. We're going to talk about all the details on the packs, all of the card counts, all of that fun stuff. Get that all out there so everybody knows what's going on with that stuff. So yeah, it's exciting. I mean, we're all pumped on, you know, we've got all of the art. Everything is over to Jonah. He is doing the things, making that happen. So it's, I think today's the first day that there's, you know, it's kind of out of my hands now, right? Like now the next 2 days, it's just talk to people about it. And obviously there's going to be fire drills and I'm going to get contacted and it's going to be like, what do we do about this? And I'll just be like, we're going to do this because that's what we're going to do.
I mean, apparently if you need to crush people that are complaining, just hire Bonz for the day.
Yeah.
No, he needs a rest, man. I've seen the work he's doing. Bonz, you deserve a nap, bro.
I think Bonz has,
You know,
a
it's
pretty
gonna
good chance
it's gonna
of
cost.
I think Bonz has a pretty good chance of maybe showing up in some future Metaphors storyline telling. That's a definite possibility.
Right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
He's the guppy crusher.
I love what you guys are doing.
Well, yeah. So there's a funny story that you guys might not know that I heard from Sean. Sean and I do a weekly show called, you know, to obscurity and back again, to the edge of obscurity and back again in 45 minutes or less. Our first episode was last week. It was 56 minutes, true to form. We were actually talking about you a little bit, Bonz, on the show. And it's funny because did you know that Bonz actually has his own CryptoFinny NFT? And they put like this CryptoFinny like kind of NFT like random generator thing in there, and this NFT popped out, and it was like apparently a carbon copy of Bonz, and they were like, "What happened? We just made Bonz." It was great. I mean, you know, I think at the very least that Bonz NFT needs to be stakeable on our planet. He did like he's like, I'm out of here. I'm done.
It's like the other day he has left.
It's like, I love when that happens.
that's that was his drop the mic moment. He's like, yeah, that's right. They made an NFT out of me.
How about I almost didn't want to let you back in. I just wanted to leave you.
That's twice in 2 days, right?
You kicked me out. Yeah, I think they kicked me out whenever it gets to a critical point. They're like, get that guy out of here before you said something stupid. But they call it the big shot Vinny. I think Sean likes to bust my balls, and he likes to keep me humble, and he likes to remind me that I'm nothing when that's actually my own quote. I had said that one day. I probably had a few too many beers, and I was reminding everybody, hey, I'm nothing. I'm well aware that I'm nothing. I try to remain very humble. And of course, he's there with his phone recording it. So that turned into like a GIF of me saying, I am nothing, I am nothing, I am nothing over and over. And he likes to remind me of that. So
that's very zen, I think. That's very zen. I don't know if you saw that one, that the crypto Finny view. I actually sent it back. I was like going to sleep. So I go to bed really early. I'm going to sleep, and I'm like, no, I gotta stay up just a few more minutes. And I got Canva out, and I basically made this version of it that had all sorts of bandages on it, like you just had because Sean like chews you up all the time. I thought it was pretty funny. I did not get anywhere near the love I thought I deserved for that.
Yeah.
I love that Bonz has like an AI sitting somewhere that like on some things sometimes. I think he's writing on a keyboard right next to the microphone or something. It sounds like
honestly, I don't know what I honestly don't know where that crackling comes from. It's coming from my speaker on the phone, and that's why I've been muting myself, and I hear it in my ear whenever I'm on with you guys, and I don't know what the deal is because when I'm on Zoom calls, it's not there at all. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with the speaker on my phone. It's only on these StreamYard things, and it crackles the whole time. And that's why I had to take my headphones off because it was literally so loud crackling in my ear. It was almost like worse this time with all the. I don't know actually what that's coming from, but yeah, I apologize for that, guys. And so yeah, whenever I go off mute, you guys are hearing the crackling coming out of my speaker like it's now a loop, and yeah, it's not cool. Sorry.
Well, it seems to be fixed now. I mean, I thought you were just typing, to be honest. Are you typing
every
now?
Every time you talk, I hear it's like crackling. Anytime else is talking, it's crackling.
Yeah, it crackles. Sorry, man.
Interesting.
None of you guys hear that? Like, you guys?
Yeah, no,
other guys hear that, like from your.
Yeah,
we hear it, but I think it's coming from you.
Yeah. If we mute you, it goes away. Sorry, buddy. Oh.
So see, you're way more than nothing. You're the aether in the background sounds of the room.
I'm here.
The Morse code of keeping yourself sane or insane.
So hey, should we tell people? Hey, Bonz, why don't you tell people about like there's a bit of a thing going on, I guess, with our planet today. I sure don't know anything about it. And I haven't looked into it for the last. Yeah, to talk about the thing.
There's a thing. So yeah, and if you guys notice, as long as none of you guys are talking, the crackling totally stops. So just keep yourselves all on mute, and then you won't have to hear about it. So you won't have to hear that crackling. So no, I'm just kidding. But yeah.
He left. He's like, I'm not having this anymore. Talk about your big thing. I'm not having this anymore.
We didn't do it. It'd be really funny if we did.
He's like,
but we didn't do it.
None of you guys talk. Everything will be okay. We all go quiet, and he's gone.
Yeah, he's like, okay, here's what you got to do.
Quick, nobody talk.
So yeah, don't talk and don't kick me out. Can you hear me? What's going on? Are you guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Wow.
No,
we didn't kick you out. But we're just like, hands off the buttons. We're not gonna do it. Yeah, just
seriously,
do the thing. We're gonna make it weird.
Before you kick me out again, before you guys kick me out again, let me just quickly give the spiel because I don't know what's actually going on, but I'm turning this into a clown show now. Apparently, yeah, land sale today noon. All you had to do is play the game like minimally, and you're on the whitelist. Of course, people are, going to be not happy about that. They're acting like they did play the game and somehow they're not on it, but the blockchain doesn't lie. And we took a snapshot of the chain. And so we're pretty sure that, the information was accurate and that everyone who actually did play our game is on the whitelist. And so, yeah, having said that, if you're upset that you didn't make the whitelist, go ahead and, try to make the next one. We're just trying to take care of our players, and we're trying to take care of we're actually just trying to eliminate bots, honestly. Like, as you guys all know, like, bots are now like becoming an issue on some of these sales and for some of these games. Alien Worlds, there's like a lot of
I was gonna say, like, God, there's no other games that are doing bots. Like, that's what? No.
Yeah, so I mean, and
Who
yeah,
would do
so
that?
it's a problem. It's not like it's just like our problem. It's like a problem like for everybody in the entire Wax like network. Like, there's a lot of bots and they're like trying to claim all the free shit, and they're like,
yeah,
and like
it's huge money.
It's an issue.
Yeah.
And
it's huge
they
money.
were basically
it's not just Wax. It's a big
It's everywhere
for Upland too. So yeah, it's definitely a real thing.
Right.
I'll tell you right now. Sorry to jump in. Like what you guys are doing with that whitelist, you can bet your ass the Uplift is going to do exactly the same kind of thing. We're talking about
really
like
that. Yeah,
making like a proven whitelist of people that are really active in the community or people that have actually made builds, like a big, huge, badass, we're actual humans list of people that are actually in the community. And we're talking about doing 10 or 20% of land and rail pre-sales that are only acceptable, like only those people, right? You get first dibs on shit to get in to make sure that you get stuff. It just like the whole idea, like community's power. How many times did we talk about that, right? And
can you add my account 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 there?
Of course, we will add your account. So yeah, I mean, like the people is where actually all of this ends up getting meaning, right? Because like you can have bots, you can have people flipping stuff, and all that's part of the market, and that's fine. But without actual humans playing the actual games and interacting, it like that community is all the power. And again, if you have 1 million people, 1 million accounts playing your game, and 100,000 of them are real, you still have 100,000 real people playing your game. That's awesome, right? But it seems to me that we create more of a network value if we actually constrain it, maybe grow a little bit slower, maybe don't hit number 1 on DApp radar in 5 seconds, which for the record is fucking fantastic. But we actually create hopefully a better foundation, which is exactly what I see you guys doing at Our Planet. Rant over.
I'm sorry for laughing, but I just think it's hilarious how stressed out Bonz is by the ticking in his ear. But I want to put this out there, right? Like, okay, so here's the problem. I did play the game minimally, and I did it with a couple of different accounts just because I wanted to do it, and I didn't make the whitelist, and I'm not complaining. So if you're complaining about not making the whitelist, you got to understand that there's dynamics and there's structures in place to reward good users. And we have Bonz on the show almost weekly, right? He's a good friend of mine. He's a person who I've connected with, over various projects, doing various things. I love the guy. When I do my trip across America, I'm going to pitch a tent on his front yard, whether he likes it or not. Whether he sits his dog after me, I don't know. But here's the thing, right? If I'm not complaining, you guys shouldn't be complaining. Get with the program, figure it out. he's like, that's it. I'm out of here. And Jimmy, I'm never talking to you again. There's no way you're freaking pitching a tent on my yard.
Well, when you tell another guy you're pitching a tent for him, sometimes
I was gonna say phrasing. Are we still doing phrasing?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the thing, right? Like, Bonz, send them to me. It's really,
Bonz's phone is not happy today.
Yeah, right? Bonz's phone is not happy. But we'll have Bonz back again. The land sales tomorrow. Recourier will be on our show tomorrow for NFT Game Day to talk about his stuff. Yep. Go follow anyobservation.com and all of the other guests who are on the project. Follow their even if you don't play their games, jump into their things, because whether they're a metaverse or not is kind of up to their own definitions. But in my opinion, pretty much everyone who was on the stream today, in a way, coming from the perspective of the Uplift is family. And together, I think we're a force to be reckoned with. I think we're the metaphors of the future. We are Ready Player One, as Corey often notes, Ready Player One version 1.0. And I don't think it'll be that long until we get to, version 10.0. If I'm completely honest about it. I think that's all for today. We're going to wrap this up. We'll be back next week on this same channel for a roundtable, another roundtable. We got some cool stuff coming up, some cool ideas coming up. I know all of the projects, all of the people on the stream have great things coming up. Please do tune in, and thank you all for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Bonz,
Appreciate
when
it.
is whitelisted updated?